Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by my channel. I'm recording Rissa and you're watching my tips and tricks for finding the right therapist for you. Okay, and they're super easy. I can point out the red flags like this because I've been through the block with therapists. I know what has turned me off. I know what turns a lot of other people off. And while I do this, I'll do my makeup, so please don't mind that. I'm just gonna start by moisturizing my face with my Korean skincare, I guess, but it's called Doomidang. It's a face lotion, and here we go. Also, if you like this content, please give me a thumbs up and maybe even a subscribe. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about are red flags to look out for, right? Because things you definitely don't want in a therapist. And I'm going to start with judgment. If you say something and your therapist says something like you should, or just like completely passes, like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Let's say that, you're afraid of dogs. So whenever you see dogs on the street, you cross the street. If she says you should just be brave and get over your fear, or he says that, then they're telling you what to do. They're not restructuring how you think. And that does not really work, especially for adults, Next up, I'm going to put on some vitamin C serum for my dark circles. Oh my gosh, they're so bad. All right. A little shake, 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 shake to shake it. But yeah, so if your therapist is judging you, don't listen to them. Find a therapist that is really able to guide your thinking and help you restructure the way you feel about things without feeling like you're messing up all the time. Because feeling like you're messing up and like you're a weirdo definitely doesn't help you feel better in whatever you're going through, So I'd say watch out primarily for therapists that judge. The other thing I'd say is to watch out for therapists that judge, because they'll make you feel like you're not comfortable telling the truth. And the most important thing in therapy is being honest with yourself and with your therapist. So if you're feeling like you're being judged, you're probably not going to tell the truth and you're not going to open up, and that defeats the whole point of therapy. So that is thing number one. My second big red flag, I guess, also, now I'm onto my bronzer. This is the Fab First Aid Beauty bronzer. I'm just going to squirt a little bit onto my hand. There we go. And rub it in. Key to like good makeup is having a strong moisturized base. Okay. Next, I'm going to talk about therapists who are not emotionally responsive. They're so emotionally out of tune with who you are, what you've got going on, that they look at you like, zoinks, I'm out of space. I don't even know what to do with you. Or worst of all, they'll give you solutions that have nothing to do with what you're trying to get at. So, for example, let's say you're saying that you have a problem with drinking, right? But you're not trying to quit smoking. Even though the two of them are connected, you're not trying to quit smoking, but your therapist insists that you start with stopping smoking, even though your goal is to stop drinking. That makes zero sense, because your goal is to stop drinking. So cessation of one doesn't necessarily mean cessation of the other. And, there's plenty of people who don't drink but smoke. People have their vices. So it depends on what your particular goal is and if your therapist can align with that goal. I guess I am saying that it gets frustrating when you feel unheard and like your therapist is trying to turn you into something that's not your goal to be turned into or to be transformed into. All right. So this is my skin after I got it all prepped. I haven't put on my concealer yet, so that's my next step. I use the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. As you can tell, I use a lot of it. It's almost done. All right, just a little bit under the eyes, and then I let it sit while I do the rest of my makeup. And you see it just slides right on because of how well prepped my skin is. Okay. So there's not gonna be too much makeup in this video. I'm doing a pretty like clean girl makeup look with a little splash of anime, I guess. I don't know what you would describe this as. It's my personal style, so. All right, I use a white highlighter and I go in, oh, my lash. And I go in and I just go to do the inner corners and the underline. There we go. And the same on this eye. A little loop here. And then under eye there. There we go. So yeah, if your therapist just doesn't know how to respond to what your goals are in therapy, leave them. Leave them quick, because you're not going to get to your goal, you know. It's going to take you longer. You're not going to trust them. Trust is a big part of therapy, and you're not going to feel heard, and that completely, just like feeling judged, defeats the point of therapy. Okay? So the third thing I would say to look out for in a bad therapist is someone who's a little too invested in being your friend, okay? Like, it's great when your therapist laughs at your jokes and stuff, but they should not be inviting themselves out to get drinks with you. That's just not professional, okay? That's a big red flag. And you might be like, but that means they really like me, or I'm so cool, or I have this validation. They shouldn't be doing anything like of the sort to encourage that kind of emotional bond, okay? I'm just saying. Okay, so next we're gonna do my eyeshadow, and I use my contour palette as my primer. I have like a pale tan right here that I use, and I just use my fingers and I rub it in. And keep rubbing it in. Okay. Now, what number am I on? I think I'm on number 4. There's just so many red flags to look out for. I think I'm just gonna do 5. But the 4th biggest red flag to look out for is a therapist. Oh yeah, I think the last one was self-explanatory. You just don't want someone that doesn't respect boundaries trying to talk to you about boundaries, okay? So yeah, that's why you don't really want a therapist that's trying to make you feel cool. And also, I don't know, it just doesn't seem very professional in my opinion. It's like teachers who want to like hang out with students and like give them alcohol. Like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to be that guy. Okay, next up is reason number 4. All right, red flag number 4. This is my Jaclyn Hill palette. I'm just gonna do my eyeshadow now, and this is the color Biscuit. Red flag number 4 is a therapist who simply does not listen. They are there to vent more than they are to listen. That is one of the most annoying things that can possibly happen, where they constantly try to put their life experiences into like the conversation and like make it about them. Like, it's not about them, it's about you. You're paying for the time, you know. You gotta figure that out. You gotta like be able to articulate, hey, this is not so much about your experiences, and your experiences are very different than mine. Please stop trying to relate, you know. And they just yammer about themselves. That's not good either, because then it's just like, hello, like, do you not hear what I'm saying, like what I'm going through? Okay, sorry, I'm trying to find the brush, a fluffy brush for my eyelids, because I've done, or my creases. But yeah, Here we go. A nice fluffy brush. It's got hair on it though. But there we go. But basically, I think that a lot of therapists, we have one more to go, and then I'll start doing some pros because I want to also say what you should be looking for. Okay? But I have my Tulum palette. I'm going to use this neutral brown and just go in and fix up the shadow. But my fifth and final red flag is a therapist that is just about the money. So when I say that, obviously all therapists have to charge for their time and stuff, but I've met a bunch of really good therapists who, if they can't help you because of your financial abilities, they will compile a list for free and find therapists in their group that do accept your insurance or do accept. A lot of therapists can do the no insurance thing. It's just so expensive, you know? But it's even better to find a therapist or a therapy group that does accept your insurance. And I've been on the receiving end where I couldn't necessarily qualify for one therapist, but they provided me with links and resources to find therapy groups and a therapist that I could afford, you know? Okay, I'm gonna finally blend my concealer because my eye makeup is pretty much done. So here we go. And you see now it's like stuck like paint. That's the good part of letting it sit. Bada bing, bada boom. And then you just rub it in and rub it in and rub it in because you really want it to be melted in, you know. And then I do my nose and my under eye. There we go. So yeah, you definitely, money, it will be a barrier for a lot of people getting therapy, but there are a lot of resources and a lot of different scales of therapy and frequency in therapy. And if your therapist is like insistent that you have it like 5 times a week, but you simply cannot afford that, then they're probably also the wrong therapist, because like it's going to be more stressful to put yourself in debt. You should do what you can afford. I'm using red face paint for my blush. I just dab it on like this. Okay. And then I rub it in. Just like that. Boom, 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 boom. Cute. Okay, next, a little bit of nose contour and some pros to look out for in your therapist. So, first pro, I think, is the complete, like, logical one. A therapist you can afford. You know, don't put yourself into too much debt, because mental health care is not, like, the most affordable thing in many countries. I'm going to use my Jaclyn Hill palette again. And I'm going to use a dark brown to contour my nose right now. This one right here. I'm just going to go like this. And like this. And brush it in. And I have my blending brush. And I just blend like so. And sometimes I use my finger if I want to get nice and neatly in there. Okay. Well, this has been my makeup look plus reviews, my top 5 worst red flags to look out for in a therapist. Look out for a therapist that accepts your insurance, that has boundaries of their own and has professionalism. And if you want me to do a video of like what does professionalism look like in a therapist, let me know. That is empathetic, has the appropriate emotional responses, and does not judge you, and listens very carefully and reflects your goals. Okay, So think about those things when you are looking for a therapist. I hope this video was helpful. I'm recording Rissa, and you've been watching my 5 red flags to look out for in a bad therapist. All right, have a great day. Mwah. I love you all.